Pranesh, like I said, I'm in New York right now. I landed to find screenshots of redacted details of my Aadhaar card and alongside other public figures that had purportedly been, I don't want to use the word hacked, had been, compromised. The government said this is a lie, but the minister did not deny that there had been or possibly been a previous stealing of data. What do you make of this controversy? A bot-driven access of the CoWIN app denied flatly by the government, but not a denial that these details could be out there in the public domain somewhere. Pranesh Prakash.
I think there are two things that are very clear. One, that multiple journalists and tech professionals did gain access through a Telegram bot to personal information relating to vaccination. Now, some of this information must have come from CoWIN database, including information of how because you could use CoWIN to register for multiple people from the same phone number, and you could search again for those same people using that same phone number. So that means that some of this data must have come through the CoWIN database and not elsewhere. And so there clearly is information relating to vaccination, relating to the CoWIN database in this data. Was this data, the CoWIN database, directly accessed? Was it accessed through a proxy database, etc.? Is that what the denial by the minister means when he says that the CoWIN database or the CoWIN app wasn't directly compromised? Does he mean that it was indirectly compromised in some form? I don't know. But what is clear there
is the database
is a
compromised
compromise.
According to you? Is the database
Yes,
compromised?
that much is clear. And India Today ran a story where they actually spoke to a person who claims to be the hacker responsible for this. And he says he doesn't have a full copy of the database, a full clone of the database, but access this through a service meant for auxiliary health midwives, auxiliary nurse midwives, I beg your pardon. And so this seems as though it was part of what is the Ayushman Bharat digital mission. And somehow some parts of those were compromised, and at least people who should not have had access to this data did get access. And then the larger question looms, which is why, even if this actually was how it was done, why do auxiliary nurse midwives have such easy access to the data of 1 billion plus people? And so clearly the minister spoke, I would say misspoke, before an actual investigation was through, and before the results of that investigation were placed before him. And he should retract his statements, and the government should lay out the details of the investigation and the report when it comes out.
You said, Pranesh, the minister must retract his statement. I was looking at it carefully. He's actually chosen his words very carefully. He says the CoWIN app does not appear to be. There it is. It does not appear that the CoWIN app or database is being directly breached. In other words, he's not denying an indirect breach. What specifically would you rather have the government say? And PKD also makes an important point. There are cookies on the sites we use. We barely understand them. We surrender our rights to be heard, to be eavesdropped, to have our locations tracked without even understanding it. So for what should we hold the government accountable right now, Pranesh?
So firstly, the minister is making certain assertions such as this is from previously stolen data, etc., which right now doesn't seem to be the case. He doesn't have any clear information about it. Even if he does, he hasn't made it available. And what he's saying is directly contradicted by the India Today interview that I cited earlier. So, and if he's hiding behind a half-truth by saying it appears that this hasn't been directly breached, okay, and behind lawyer, weasel words like like that, which a lawyer would craft, rather than saying that, yes, there has been something that's gone wrong, and we will investigate, and we will report back to you, and we will take steps to ensure that those who are responsible for this are punished, and that these kinds of things don't happen again in the future. That's what I would like to hear a government official saying, not saying that, I'm not going to say that it might have been indirectly breached, but I'll say it hasn't been directly breached. Now, and very honestly, right now he couldn't have the data, he couldn't have the information from certain or from any other organization to establish that. And further information about this only came out earlier today, not yesterday, when he made the statement. So apart from this, one positive thing I'd like to note is, in this case, there were only a few data points that were actually made available through this Truecaller bot. That is name, mobile number, gender, an ID number, which could include Aadhaar, and date of birth, apart from address where vaccination was taken. Now, this allows for a number of things. This allows for a person who has a phone number to connect it to a name, where they previously might not have been able to do so. It allows them to have a date of birth, which is actually not required for pretty much any government service. What is required for many government services is age, not date of birth. So even if you've noticed, in the past, the Indian Railways, when you were booking a ticket, used to ask you for date of birth, but then they realized that that's actually collecting more data than they need. They need age in order to verify whether someone is a senior citizen, in case of accidents or something like that, to be able to identify bodies, but they don't need exact date of birth. So don't collect more information than you need. Don't store more information than you need. And in this case, I'm afraid we actually might be violating regulations relating to Aadhaar, relating to the Aadhaar sharing of information regulations, Rule 5 and Rule 6, which prohibit actually sharing of Aadhaar number without consent of the person. So in this case, some people's Aadhaar numbers clearly were shared with this person who was pretending to be a nurse, and that was done without people's express consent. So for me, how that these kinds of regulations are being violated should also be investigated by the minister. And so we shouldn't be defensive.